All right, so we're going to begin on page Shin Nun Gimel. I think that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So it says Tana. So ki lamadno hai urcha de nachis tros trin nukvin de hutoma. So there's a path underneath the nostrils. V'seirin zeirin malyan nahu archa. Shezecha orecha yotza benimshach v'tachar shnei nikve hachoitim dezer anpen. V'sa'aros katana memalaikim as orech, and then there's all these little hairs. Sheino ponach or b'saros not empty. Kamo v'orech sheyotza betachas nikve hachoitim erik anpen, for example. That, for example. Lo ikriahu orcho over al pesha, so it's not called by the same name as you had the one the tikkun in Erik Anpen. Ki l'chein lo nikra orech hazecha b'shem over al pesha, kamo shenikra orech hazecha shel Erik Anpen b'shem over al pesha, that area over there underneath the nose in Erik Anpen. The less Azar the there's no place, the word Avor is not there, there's no place to go through. Betray Gavonim, there's two different ways. Ki ein Mako Ba'osa Orech La'avke V'limchol Pesha, there's no to Lahavir, to remove or to forgive the sin, Shalatachtoidim, B'shum Shnei Pamim, because of Tamim, because of two reasons. Chad b'shum sari deishtakach b'hachu orcho. One is because of the hairs that are found there, who aser kasha la'avra, so it'll make it very difficult to get through it. Tam echad kuki mifnei hasa'aros adimsacha b'secha orech, because of those, who makam kasha lahaver v'limcho pesha. Ki elach hasa'aros, because these hairs sheba'osa orech heim dinim kashim, they're dinim kashim v'gedolim, Ma'akvim as a slicha, that hold it back. Ve'edachem noisnechem makom la'avor sham shefa elyon. V'lahachliv as milas pesha l'milas shefa. That's a drush that they had over there by Erik Anpen. Kamo b'tikin over hom pesha shal Erik Anpen. V'chad v'od, and then there's another one. Tam echod. Lama orech hazecha ve'ena over al pesha ve'en dinim nim talking about. So why not? Why did they not pass through? Why can't we sweeten the dinim? B'shum the nachi is avracha dahaku torcha orcha al derecha the puma. B'shum shemahamaver shal zecha orech shemetachas nikve chotim yored v'nimshak ad dechilas apeh. So the path, which this one, I get a little confused over here, the path that is going down underneath the nose, on Zera Anpen, it yored lamata ad dechilas apeh until it reaches the beginning of the mouth. Shuhu makom admimos, which is a place which is red. That is the asafa al yoina, the upper lip. Shuhu din kosher, because red, of course, is the color of din. V'gam hasa'aros hakatanim shebezecha orach, and so that the small hairs that are in this path, yordim ad safa al yoda, they go down until they reach that lower lip. V'nim shachin katsas al makom ad mimos, and they extend a little bit to the place of this redness, hasafa al yona, which is the safa al yona. Below yater, avov einanim shachin v'yordim yosef is that. So we have this place. I guess he's talking about the third tikkun, and we have this place, and it doesn't go down any further than that. Ki makom b'peh atzmo hu ponderoi min ha'sa'aros, because there aren't any hairs there. V'al dachasiv, so therefore on this it's written v'al kain kosov, therefore it's written al sfasai zer anpen, and this is v'asiv sosecha shoshanim su'makim kevardo. So they're red, the lips are red, and they're like the red rose. The hindach shasfasayim became adumos k'shoshanim, they're red like roses. Ki machmas din akasha, because of the deep din that's there, sheyesh bechem, that there's inside of them. Became makom hasfasayim haponim sa'aros who begavon edon haromas the din. So therefore, since there's so much din there, he says therefore they're red. Notfos more over. So what about these words? He says that they drip more passing through. But who can negate? What is this guy talking about? This is talking about the Orcha Shetachos Nikve Achoitim. It's talking about, he says this is the third tikkun in Zeranpin. Oben al admimus asfasayim, and it's really up above the redness of the lips. Venirmas beloshen over, so it's actually referenced by the word over, passes by. Shuhu makom ha'orach ha'nikra ha'over ha'pesha atzel Eric Anpin. So therefore we have the concept that it's over. So it's similar to the place in Eric Anpin, sumko takif, with a real strong redness. Of a makam ha'orach notfos more, so it drips out more. More is one of the spices of the incense. He says, Shehamorku begavon edon chazak v'kosher Yosimin gavon ma'edon shebemakom asfasayim. So he said, wait a minute. He says, what? Wait a minute. He says, what? It says Shehamor. The more represents a gavon edom, a deeper red, harder red. Yoser men gavon edom shebemakom asfasayim. More than that. V'lechein elach ha'sa'aros hanimsoim ba'osa orach heim begavon shachor. So therefore the hairs themselves are black. Because if you join together, in other words, it meets up with this. So if you join it together, this redness that's on the lips, with these black hairs which fill up this path, so he says that the redness becomes chasa because of this blackness. Because the two colors really go together to a great extent. But rather it's in some way, it's, I don't know what he means by loka, but it's smitten in some way, and therefore it dims, it's not so bright red anymore, it's black. So now we have another reason why it's not called by that name over al pesha, of ein hadidim nim talking bo, and then the dinim are not sweetened there. Ki milvad tama rishon sheyesh ba'orach zeh, because besides the original reasons, sa'aros am akvim es aslicha, besides the fact that you have all these hairs blocking the forgiveness that could be coming out, yesh od tam, there's another reason. Ki ha'orach nimshach v'yared ad udmimus asosayim, that it goes down into the redness of the lips. Shuhu makom dinim. So admimos asosayim, it's starfos yachad. So the redness in the lips joins together into oneness. Imas aros and imsohim bezecha orach, with these black hairs. V'chevena'asasham dinim kashim v'chazokim, it makes even stronger dinim. So gavon hashachor, like the color red, shall ha'sa'aros, a black rather, shall sa'aros v'lekach. Therefore, ein hadinim nim talking ba'orach hazeh. So therefore the yes. Okay, we're back again. I'm at the bottom of the line, bottom here. I don't know where I lost you. So there's no chance that on this path there's going to be sweetened dinim, and it's not called by the same name that you have over there by Eric Anpin. See something here. Okay. Oh, it says, so now let's talk about this. That path in between the nostrils, shazer anpin, b'srei gavanim loch isbasam. Ein hadinim is basmim amimtakim bo makmushtei hatamim, which we said before. Tamarisha b'fnei sa'aras adim soim bezez. The first reason is because of the hairs that are found there. B'ha'orach b'zeh ha'orach, on that path. Shehem dinim ma'akvim as aslicha v'tamasheni. What's the second reason? Hu lefi shaha'orach yored ad mimas asfasayim, that it goes, that this path full of black hairs goes down to the lips. Shehu makom dinim ka'amor la'el, Bekan v'bekan anulamdim. So for the two different it does not makan umakan. It's a umakan anulamdim. So we learn from here. Man de boy la'agzama. Ki amaser b'chaveira b'shudoch yigalo soda the cherim. So you want to tell somebody to keep quiet. V'rotzu la'iyim olav over the v'afchido b'hagzama. So I looked at this word hagzama here. It says it means to scare him. Bishir yotzechem in a cloud. Let me really give him something to scare him. Kadeshi lo mora upacha b'menu. Tre zimne batash b'day b'hai orcha. So 2 times you take your hand. He says you b'day, right? As noheg adam matachnon lahakos be'etzbo. So he takes his finger and he strikes shtei sfasayim ala orach along that path. V'chazecha v'chu ramas v'siyam l'shorsho ha'elyon. So this is really a reference, and the word is simon, and simon the shorsho ha'elyon. Ba'orach shatachas nekvei chotim zer anpen sheyesh b'chabes aru shehem dinim. So I just want to tell you that there was this. I tried this. So there was a story where I was in the synagogue here is packed, on certain times. Well, most of the time. Anyway, it's packed, and 2 guys are talking behind me. They're just carrying on a conversation. And the man sitting next to me was disturbed about it. It was disturbing because, we're in the middle of tefillah. So I turned around to them and I put my finger across my lips like that, and they were quiet. So instead of shushing him, I think we had a drush on that in this. The shushing, some kind of sound there that irritates people. Anyway, let's go on. So therefore, when a person strikes his finger against this path, so he's also at the same time, he's connecting that, so to speak, with his lips. Shuhu gam came makom dinim hamitztaref the dinim shal orach ga'omer, which is also a place of dinim, and you put it together with the other path, you got some dinim. So therefore, now this is a little difference. He says you do it twice. Kadei l'rmos al shtei bechinus dinim elu, so that you can get a reference here to these two different kinds of dinim. Ki gamosha zer anpin eina over al pesha, and zer anpin we don't have a situation where he's over al pesha. Bezecha orach machmas edu dinim ka'amar la'ela, because of the dinim we're talking about. Kach gam ha'adam azecha be'eina over pesha be'im chaveira yigaler as soda. So this is really talking about if a person is about to reveal some kind of a secret. Let me just read it again. Ki gam ha'adam azecha eina over pesha. So be'im chaveira yigaler as soda. So if his friend's going to say some secret or something he shouldn't say. Tikkun Riviyah. So now that was the 3rd tikkun. So my question about the 3rd tikkun was, what does it do? So I guess it's just a connection of more dinim, not like Eric Anpin at all. So the tikkun Riviyah. Let's talk about the 4th tikkun. Tikkun Revi makomo v'seidet smichas arosav kachu. The place of his of the growing of his hairs is like this. Nafik sa'ara. So hairs came out. So he says it not came out, but let's see what he says. Yotzim, v'tzomchim, and grow, v'histaken, v'nisaktin, l'chashpir, l'tachtonim, and they're built in such a way that they could be mashpir to the lower worlds. He said v'salak, v'chatika d'zecha ba'oila l'mala l'hisgaver. So it starts growing upwards. It sounds like it gets strong. L'hisgaver, sorry. Im hatika l'rishon, there it goes up to the sideburn, the beginning of where the beard starts. Sham samach l'tika l'rishon. V'chafe be'ilui, as here's a word ilui. Ve'elach ha'sa'aras mechasim es shnei halachaim. Ilui, he says, in other words, apparently for cheeks. Ki sa'aras ha'tikun l'revi, because the hairs of the 4th tikun. Yotzi v'makum siyam ha'sa'aras ha'katzarim. It really goes out from the place where the hairs shall hatika the rishon, I guess where they end. And from that position, then they spread onto the cheeks. the rochav hapanim, to the breadth of the face, ad dechilas asfalsayim, and once again till it reaches that place which is the beginning of the lips. So in other words, it's going. I think we're talking about going downwards from the higher place, which is where the first tikkun is, starting there and broadening out, going across the cheeks. He calls it the same name that more or less that you have here. You have a similar name, the same name used with Eric Anpin, b'tekruv de debusma, v'ru b'makom halachayim. It's in the place of the cheeks. Those cheeks are called the nikrotak rovas of minchas besamim. So they're called an offering of some besamim. Kamosha and Emma, like we have over here, l'chaygov ka rugas habosim. So his let me see if I got that right. L'chayyov, yeah, it's okay. So rugas habosim is like rows of perfume. V'ratam shenikra kachu. The reason why it's called this, hay tikune yod shvira, because this tikkun is beautiful and beautiful. The ischazah to look at ki zeh hatikun hu no v'yafa l'mara. Kamo arugas abasalim. So he says that's why it's compared to these rows of incense. Shuhu yafa l'mara, because it's something beautiful to see, because this hod v'hadaru. So now it says it has two names. Are these two names are tied to prior to it, hod and hadar. So this is the glory and the majesty of the face of Zer Anpin. Because these two words, hod and hadar, are the digna is that shala adam. It's the glory and it's the beauty of a person. He said, the rabbi says, hadras panim zaka. So he says that the real beauty of the face, or the glory of the face, is the beard. V'hu hod v'yofi la'adam. So it's once again, it's the majesty, something like that, or the beauty of a man. The Gemosha Nikra Hod Zakan K'Lachaman. So since it has another name, he says it's also called the Hod of the Zakan, and we're going to see that later on. So this tikkun, number 4, is the main part of the beard. Because there's a tremendous amount of hairs there going along the breadth of the beard. And that is the beginning of where you can actually recognize the beard of Zer Anpin. So you have two words there, hod v'hadar and hod zakan. So v'tzanya. So we learn like this, lamada b'braisa. Hod ilo. There is such a thing as an upper hod. Ha'aras hod ha'elyon. What are we talking about? Shuhu hod da'atek yamim. Now, I'm thinking he's talking about atek yamim. I'm not sure what he's talking about, if he's talking about that or Eric Anpin. But let's say like this. He says the hod da'elyon shuhu hod da'atek yamim. In other words, it's a higher dimension. Hamaluvish begugolta the Zer Anpin, which is now clothed in the gugolta the Zer Anpin. So let's know we could clarify it, since it's in the gugolta Zer Anpin. I was probably talking about Eric Anpin, and the hod of Eric Anpin is mislavish there. Nafik Yosef betoch al gugolas. It comes out from that skull. V'misater b'mochin b'Zer Anpin. So let me go back and read this again, because it doesn't make a lot of sense the way I explained it. He said, "V'tanya lamado hod law." There's an upper hod. Ha'aris hod elyon shuhu hod da'atek yamim. Okay, so that's Eric Anpin. I'm assuming hamaluv begugolta the Zer Anpin, who was in the skull, maluvish in his skull. So he said, "V'nafik yotze betoch al gugola." So it goes out from that gugola. I'm assuming he means the same skull. Misater memochin de Zer Anpin, and it becomes a crown on the mochin de Zer Anpin. V'nage leis achada beilui. V'achakach yored, it goes down. V'nimshach ha'aras hod da'atek yamim. So this hod, which I'm assuming he means Eric Anpin. Le'chzach v'lahayir b'lachyav shel Zer Anpin. So it actually shines its panimi to the cheeks of Zer Anpin. Shul Makom Tikkun the Revihah the Dikna the Zer Anpen, which is the place of the fourth Tikkun. Now, the way I understand the sequence that he said it, he said that the Hod of Eric Anpen is inside of is in the skull of Zer Anpen. And from there it goes up. He says it's ater and it crowns misater b'mochin de Zer Anpen. So then it goes from the skull and it's up on top of his mochin. Let me go again. So from that place, which is on the top of the head, the crown of Zer Anpen, no Yored Nitzach Oras Hod Atik Yamim. So this is where the Hod of Atik Yamim, he says Yored V'Nimshach, it comes down on there, it extends over to there. It's to be seen. This aches to grab a hold. V'lahar Belachyav Shel Zer Anpen, and to shine onto the cheeks of Zer Anpen. Shul Makom Tikkun Haravi to Dikna the Zer Anpen, and that's the source of the shining that comes from the cheeks of Zer Anpen. V'iskan hod v'iskri hod zakan. So this is also called, let's say hod means majesty. So it said that this is the majesty of the beard. V'az nikra hadikta the Zer Anpen b'shem hod zakan. Al shem why? It's lavshus hod atek yamim b'zakan shel Zer Anpen, because that hod of atek yamim, which is his left leg, let's say, is now clothed b'zaken shel Zer Anpen, on the zakan of Zer Anpen. Ki techilas heker hadikna, because the place where you first start to recognize the beard, that is the zakan, who batikun the revi, is in the fourth. That's where you start to have a beard. Now he's up to this point, now he's tying this with the hod of what he calls Atik Yamim. So the fishu makom hasrachavos, because this is the place of the broadening of the sa'arish al-lachaim that are on the cheeks. Of a tikkun the revi, so now when you go to the fourth tikkun, nikra b'shem zakan, so then it's called the name of zakan, which is beard. For Rabbi Rabbah said like this. Ki Yesod ha'elyon. Let's talk about the Yesod ha'elyon, shehu sod ha'melech ha'shmini, which is the secret of the eighth king. We're talking about here, elyon is Eric Anpen again, I guess. Sod ha'melech ha'shmini nikra Hadar, who's called Hadar. So now what you have here, okay. Okay, we're back. So go back a little bit. It says, Amar Rabbi Abba, Ki Yesod Elyon Shehu Sod HaMelech HaShmini. Who's the eighth king? The eighth king is called Hadar. V'hu HaGorem L'Yitzias Aras Adikna. So this eighth king, now I don't really think I understand this, but let's see, he says the eighth king, which is Hadar, that's a Lashon the Mashiach. So Hadar, he is Hagorem the Yitzias Aras Adikna. It's Hadar that causes this to come out. V'lekach nikra habadikna gam b'shem Hadar. So therefore, we have not just Hod, we have Hadar. Al shem hayisod b'sod haredis hedris panim zakan, where we said the beauty of the glory of the beard is the face is the beard. So of course I'm thrown over here by where he said, let me go back again, Hagorem the Yitzias Aras Adikna. So it is this Melech HaShmini that causes the beard to grow. So I'm not really sure that I understand that. I don't really know if there's anything else about this. He says, number Shin doesn't have much. Shin Aleph is in a different place. Okay, let's go on. So we don't know. It's a fact here, all the influences of Eric Anpen or Atik Yamim himself, where it's manifest in the partsufim below it, is a little bit vague. V'lekach nikra hadikna gam b'shem Hadar al shem Yesod. So apparently the Yesod of Eric Anpen is also there. Besod hadris panim zakan. So I'm not sure. V'lezel Amar ubachai hod v'hadar. And so now you have this phrase hod v'hadar. Mekoach hahod shal atek yamim, because of the power of this hod of atek yamim. And the Hadar Shuhu HaYesod, so it is the sphere, the Hod Eric Anpin, and his Yisod, which is now called Hadar, Shuha Yisod, Talian, Elin, the Vushid, the Islavish Behul. So then from these are hanging, or I guess hanging down, their clothing. Tuluyim, Mishnal Shalim, Eilach Sa'aras of the Chaim, there's their Anpin, so they go downwards. Sheheba Bechin is Levushim, because what are they? They are actually aspects of clothing, Shemislavish Bechem HaShefa or Alyon, which clothes within it the shefa that's coming from up above. So we have these two concepts from the Hod and from the Yisod of Atak Yomim. I think he means Eric Anpin. He's saying that this is really responsible. It's like a clothing, rather, it's clothing that shefa. So I guess what he told us is really where the shefa is coming from. So this here's a new word for me, purpira. So he said, so this is a purpira is another word for a clothing, shal melech, but it's maybe like the robes of a king, something like that. Shal melech shuhu zer anpin, which is zer anpin. So that becomes like his clothing. What is clothing? The clothing is, I guess it's hod v'hadar, or this beard, which is clothing, the hod v'hadar. Dechsev v'kamosha kasev al zer anpin, and this is what is written in regards to Zer Anpin, Hod v'Hadar Levashta. So he's clothed in these two. So he's just giving us Hod v'Hadar really refers also to Hod and Yisod of Eric Anpin. Now let's go a little bit more. He said, Dahainu, Tikunim de Islavish Bahu. Elu Sa'ara, so to talk about the hairs of the L'chaim of the beard, of the cheeks. Shehem tikunim, which are they are actually tikunim. What are tikunim? Once again, they are elements that are mismayat the light, that limit down the light. Shemis lavish b'chem zer anpin, in which zer anpin are clothed within zer anpin. Shemis lavish b'chem zer anpin. V'hem nikroim hod v'hadar. So these are called hod v'hadar. Parts of Zer Anpin, and this reason is because they are the real beauty of the face of Zer Anpin. And they come out from the upper Hod V'Hadar. It's adorned with this, and it's built in this way, with this through these sa'aros, which have pnimi to them, the Hod and the Yisod of Eric Anpin, and they are also the source of this Hod and Hadar, Diyukna the Adam. Zer Anpin, HaNikra Diyukon the Adam. He is really the image of a man. Shuhu Ha'asach B'demus V'Tzelem Adam. So we understand that Zer Anpin is also the number 45, which is a gematria of Adam. Ha'elyon Shuhu Eric Anpin. Yate be called Diyuknin, and he's more like that than any other. V'kishot zeh, so in the fact that you have this clothing, who misukan yosim be called partzufi atzilus, so therefore it's more built, it's built, what's that? It's more misukan than all the other partzufim in atzilus. Ki l'kol partzufi atzilus, ein sa'aras dikna, there aren't any other hairs on the beard. Rakla Partsufi Zer Anpin ve'Eric Anpin, only those two Partsufim. Moving on. So we said V'ta'ana, so we learn like this. 1 second. All right. V'ta'ana v'lamdanu hai hod. So let's go back to this hod. Kizel ha'tika the revira the dicta de Zer Anpin. Shu sa'aras sheberochav halachayim. They're the hairs and the breadth of the beard. Hanikra hod zakan, they are called the glory of the beard. Kad is nahar b'nehira the digna law. When you see that they're actually receiving light, kashuhu meir ba'or hadigna, so it's shining now. Why is it shining? Because it's getting light from the dikna el elyon. The hayla kashu mekava ba'aras atikuni dikna shall Eric Anpin, when he gets a ha'ara from those tikunim of Eric Anpin. Vis pasha b'shar tikuni nehirin, v'oz gam nis pasha tadikna dezer anpin b'shar arba tikunim meirim. So let me see these words again. V'ispashet b'shar tikuni dehirin. All the rest of them, it shines them. V'oz gam nispashet adikna dezer anpin b'shar arba tikunim me'irim. With the rest of the 4 tikunim that are shining. Now that particular phrase, I don't know what he means. He says here we're on the 4th tikkun. So he says from here it's shining onto the other 4. What other 4 is he talking about? V'nishlam b'teisha tikunim v'lishlosh asa tikunim. And as a result of it, that shining, it gets completed into to 9 tikunim, or in another situation, even into 13. Ki mekabel shlosh esrei ha'aros, so it's get the 13 different radiances, min shlosh asa tikuni dikna dezer anpen, from the 13 tikunim of zer anpen. So he said, v'az me'irim b'dikna dezer anpen, for them they wind up shining into the beard of zer anpen. Gam atikun hasheni v'hashlishi shel erik anpen, also the 2nd and the 3rd tikun of erik anpen. And they kroim nose avon, which are called by those names which we nose avon, that is bearing sin, v'over pesha, which is the path that's underneath the nose of erik anpen, ashehem sa'aras ha'shefa ha'alyona, which are really actually hairs that have the upper shefa to them, and they also represent that path we were talking about underneath the nose, which forgives everything and pours it down. I guess he means that the 2 tikkunim, and I don't know which tikkunim he's talking about for sure. So like I said before, I got confused when he said that when this 4th tikkun is lit up, it lights up the other 4, but there's 9 tikkunim, so I don't know where the other one went to. And over here, we're also getting a cheshbon, the shnei tikkunim elush b'shem nose avan v'over pesha. So now I guess these 2, which was hoden v'hadar, or this aspect of the beard, now they have a new name if it is that the hairs of the beard of erik anpen are shining on it. Haihu nose avan b'hai gisa. Behind the tikkun the sheni nose avon, shuhus aras asaf al yoina, which is talking about erik anpen now, which is the upper lip of erik anpen. Litzad rocha v'peh, in regards to the breadth of the beard. V'over ha'pesha b'hai gisa, then it also has rova pesha another way. V'tikkun the shlishi v'over ha'pesha shuhu aras ha'orech, which is the path. Shetachos nikve ha'hoitim. Litzad orach ha'peh, on the side of the path of the face, the length of the face, the face. Va'atar choser of Rebbe. Okay, so va'atar choser Rebbe Abba the devar of hakodmim. So there's a few confusions there that I have. So let's go on now. He said va'atar choser Rebbe Abba the devar of Rebbe Abba goes back, and now he starts talking about what we was talking about before hakodmim. She'amar shasa'aras al l'chakim shuhu tikun the devihi v'dedikna zer anpen. So he says that the tikkun that has to do with the cheeks, which is the 4th tikkun of zer anpen, nikra hod zakan, v'hod v'hadar. So it has 2 different names it could be called. The fish shehem iker yofi hadikna, and the reason is because they're the real beauty of the beard. Rebbe Abba then goes back and talks about this, and he said, "Begin kach." So therefore, that's the reason why lechi, which is a singular word, is written in plural. Ki lekach nizkar hadikna b'pasuk b'kinoi lechayev. Shuhu tikkun the revihi shel sa'aras ha'lechayim, which is the 4th tikkun of the hairs of the cheeks. V'lo nizkar b'shem shar tikkun dikna. It's not used in the same language as all of the rest of the tikkunim of the beard. Ki sa'aras al-l'chaim heim iker hadikna, b'lekach nikra kol hadikna al shem sa'aras al-l'chaim. So therefore the whole beard is called by that. So he says, going on, V'omer Rebbe Abba. So Rebbe Abba goes on, and he continues, and he says like this. Ubetzniusa de Sifra, back to the teachings in the Sifra de Tzniusa. V'lemad of Pirush HaSodos, in the explanation of the secrets, shall Sefer Sifra de Tzniusa. Ikri Hod V'Hadar V'Tiferes. So therefore it's called by these names, Hod V'Hadar, but it also has another name, it's also called Tiferes. Why? Ki ha-tikkun ha-shlishi shall dikna de erik anpin, because the 3rd tikkun, that's the area that's blocked underneath the nose. ha-nikrach over a pasha, which is called by the name over a pasha, that is in Eric Anpin it is, shuhu ha-orach shetachas ha-chaytim ha-nikra b'shlosh shemos hod v'hada v'teferes. So we're talking about that place. Okay, we'll keep going. So he says, what did he say? Let's start at the top of the column. He said, Ki atikon ashlishi shal adikna de Eric Anpin. So the third tikkun of the beard of Eric Anpin, hanikra v'over hapesha. So we're talking about Eric Anpin here. Shuhu ha'or shetachas ha'chaytim nikra b'shlosh shemos. That path. Now we're talking about Eric Anpin now, called by three different names. Shuhu hod v'hada v'teferes. The ha teferes, who over al pasha, because it's teferes that where the pasha passes through. What does that mean? Ha'tam shenikra teferes, hu b'shem shebetikun zeh over al pasha, because in this third tikkun in Eric Anpin, over al pasha, the slichas avonos, and also the forgiveness of sins, who ha-tiferes shall Eric Anpin. That is the beauty, I guess. I'm not sure what he means by this. He says it's the Tiferes of Eric Anpin. Kamosha ne'ember v'sifarto avor al pasha. And so his Tiferes passed through this pasha. This is pasuk v'lechein nikra hatikun ashlishi de Eric Anpin. So therefore, this third tikkun of Eric Anpin is nikra the Eric Anpin now b'shem Tiferes. Yachad im Hashemos Hod v'Hadar. So it also comes out that it also has these names Hod v'Hadar. So Hod v'Hadar, what is coming into this tikkunim in Zer Anpin? So I'm into his beard. So what do we got here? V'Hai Tiferes lo ukimna ala b'tikkun tishiyah. But we really only know this from the ninth tikkun, because Dafka b'dikna de Eric Anpin. So we're only talking here about the beard of Eric Anpin. But we come over here. It's not called, the word Tiferes is not there, but Tikkun ha'echad. So there's no one Tikkun that really applies to that last word, Tiferes. Ki afshach Tikkun the Revich the Digna de Zer Anpin Shuhus Aras the L'chaim Nikra b'Shnei Shemos, which are Hod v'Hadar Gamor. We say that we have two names for the beard, for this part in the beard, because those Einu Nikra b'Shem Tiferes, but we don't apply the word Tiferes. Ki Shem Tiferes lo hamad no bi'arno, so we don't have it before us and we haven't explained it. L'chalon b'tikun tishiyah, they explained it there. Rak b'tikun tishiyah the digna zer anpin. In other words, we don't have it here because we haven't gotten to talk yet about the ninth tikkun. Kamada atoma, like you say, like this, kamosha ashin is boyer l'chalon. Shar sha'al tikkun adishin emer apasok v'siferes b'churim kocham. So the beauty of young people is their strength. V'taman ikri Tiferes, and over there it's called by that name Tiferes. V'hariki tikkun adishi hu an nikra b'shem Tiferes. V'kach istakel b'maskala Yachad istakel. So when you measure it, you melt it on a balance scale. Chad salkim. So he said one of them doesn't belong. Is that what he means? He says, let's see what the explanation is. So it says, uga shenishkol hadavarim. So you weigh the different things we're talking about. V'nistakel b'chem ba'omek, and you look at it in some depth. He says, Oz nira sheshnechem olam b'mishkal echad, and you can see them, they're balanced. Now what does that mean? Kolomar, ki inyan Tiferes haidach is galus ikur kocho v'tifarto shal partzov. So that is the Tiferes is really the total beauty of the partzov. Called partzov lefi inyano, so every partzov is different. But the fichoch, etzel parts of Eric Anpin. So when we look at Eric Anpin, she'ikarim v'rachmim v'slichos avonos, and the main thing about Eric Anpin is rachmanos. forgiveness for sins. So therefore the 13th tikkun, the third tikkun, which is called over hapesha, an erikanpin, it means really forgiving sins. Hu hanikra teferes shal erikanpin. That's the part that's the teferes of erikanpin, because it really sums up the ultimate purpose of the beard. That's all parts of Zer Anpin. Sheikaro hu gevura, where the main thing is really gevura, which is punishing the natzach, lenatseach asanoyim, in order to be able to overcome one's enemies, like we saw previously, of the teshava rushayim, and also to break the evil ones. Harechatika the teshihah dedigna asher bo nizgala hagavura v'chakoyach shazer anpen. So he says this 9th tikkun, which really is the part that really shows what is his word, the gavura v'chakoyach of zer anpen, hu hanikra teferes shel zer anpen. That's the part that's called the beauty of zer anpen. So now we go to this, and I'm a Rebbe Shimon. So Rebbe Shimon says, Ya'us ant Rebbe Abba. His barcho b'chatika kadisha, that you should be blessed from Atika kadisha. Royata Rebbe Abba his barach me'erik anpin hanikra Atika kadisha. So which he's calling here Atika kadisha. So he says, let me see, I lost the place here. He does the whole barakon nafkin minei, because all of the brachos come out from this beard. So therefore it's called what? Yos Ant. So he says they should be blessed from Eric Anpen. Going on a little bit more, he says Tikkun Chamisha. So let's look at the 5th Tikkun. Tikkun Chamishi shall Tikkun Dikna the Zer Anpen. Hine Mekomo Beponim shall Zer Anpen. Its place is on the face of Zer Anpen. I think are we out of time now? We can start the 5th Tikkun the next time. Okay? All right, we'll talk to you next time. Thank you for learning with me today. Call 2 for a wonderful day.